The Hennepin County Attorney's Office has concluded that criminal charges are not warranted against either Officer Mark Ringenberg or Officer Dustin Schwartzy. The investigation included 122 BCA reports totaling 1,370 pages, an autopsy, 21 DNA reports, and 97 Minneapolis Police Department supplemental reports. In my review of each and every document, it took me 31 hours to read all of them. At 12:49 a.m. on November 15th, officers Ringenberg and Schwartzy approached Clark and noticed his hands were in his jacket pocket. After Clark resisted being handcuffed, standing up, Ringenberg reached his arm around Clark's chest and neck and took him to the ground. This occurred at 12:49:29 a.m. Ringenberg landed on his side on top of Clark, who was on his back. In essence, Clark's back was to the ground and Ringenberg's back was to Clark's stomach. Ringenberg said he tried to move away from Clark to get in position to handcuff him. Ringenberg felt his gun go from his right hip to the small of his back and told Schwartzy, "He's got my gun." Ringenberg said he reached back to the top of his gun and felt Clark's whole hand on the gun. Ringenberg repeatedly told his partner Schwartzy, "He's got my gun, he's got my gun." Ringenberg recalled hearing Schwartzy tell Clark to let go of the gun or Schwartzy would shoot. Schwartzy said the, quote, "only thing I could think of to do was to save our lives and everyone else in the immediate area, so I pulled the trigger," end quote. Schwartzy said the gun did not fire because the slide was only partially pulled back. Schwartzy heard Ringenberg saying, "Shoot him," in a panicked voice, so Schwartzy pulled the trigger again, and the gun fired. Clark was shot approximately 61 seconds after the police first approached. On the 17th, Chief Hennepin County Medical Examiner Dr. Andrew Baker performed an autopsy. Baker said no occult contusions or other injuries suggestive of restraint. Dr. Baker's finding of no internal or external signs of handcuff injuries is consistent with the photos taken of Clark's wrists at the hospital. This forensic medical evidence also strongly corroborates the statements of the officers that Clark was not handcuffed at the time he was struggling with Ringenberg and not handcuffed at the time he was shot.
And had we as community members not requested an independent investigation, the MPD would have likely continued to investigate this matter, even though there's no trust with the Minneapolis Police Department, given their violent and abusive actions, particularly towards the African American community. So it is very difficult for us to trust any evidence that has been presented by the Minneapolis Police Department.
Not yet. Your entire narrative today was to push the propaganda of the MPD. Not once did you give a fair account of what took place with Jamar, and you never gave us any information from witnesses. All you did was push the information that you got as witnesses from the officers who were the ones who victimized and ultimately murdered Jamar. You, Mr. Freeman, did not give a fair and accurate portrayal of what took place with your investigation. Today you push propaganda. And let me tell you, if the city burns, it's on your hands.
We saw him be violently grabbed to the ground. We heard from witness statements that contradict what you and the officers are stating. And you did not give any credence or credibility to what the witnesses on the north side had to say about what happened. That is the problem with this system today.